Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm so excited to show you how to make this gorgeous crochet mandala. It's super easy. I kid you not, like it's basically just different ways you crochet into a stitch and it makes this awesome pattern texture thing. So if you want to see how I made this, stick around till the end. So we are going to start with this blue yarn. And then we're going to make a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go into the fourth stitch. The first chain with a slip. To start row 1, we are going to chain 2. Then I'm going to make 1. So we're going to make 4 double crochets. 1, 2. Okay, that's 4 because that chain 2 counts as 1 that we did at the beginning. And then we're going to chain 1 and then make 4 double crochets again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and flip your work around, and then I'm just going to make a double crochet into every single gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in that gap in the middle there, you're going to make an increase. So I'm going to go 1, 2 double crochets, and then chain 1 and then 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and then in that stitch right next to your increase, you're just going to start working in there. Then double crochet in every single stitch. That's row 2 done. And then I'm just going to fasten off the yarn. Then you can weave it away a bit. Now we're going to start row 3 and we're going to start with the back of the work. So I'm going to go into the back stitch there, and I'm actually going to start the row with an increase. So you do a standing half double crochet, so you basically just wrap the yarn around your needle, go through the back pillar and then make a double crochet. 1, 2, then yarn around, and then you just crochet in the back loop of every stitch for this row. Okay, and then now you can see we need to increase, so we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, then we're going to chain 2 and then make 3 double crochets again. 1, the stitch right next to it, you start working in the back of every double crochet. So we're gonna start with an increase, so basically go into that very first stitch, and then I'm gonna work every gap. Well, a half double crochet into every gap. Then we do 3 double crochets for the increase, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets again for the increase. 2, 3, and then crochet in all the gaps. So when I mean gap, you're not going into the chain, I mean the stitch. Then I'm just going to do a double crochet into that standing double, because if you can see it's getting a bit pointy. I want it to be a bit more wider, so I'm going to start doing a little bit more stitches on the end stitch. And then I'm going to fasten off the yarn, well, fasten off the stitch, and then Okay, so let me quickly explain row 5. So I started with a standing double crochet and went into that first gap there. Then I chain 1 and then skip a stitch, standing double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet. So it's basically like a double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double crochet. And then basically when you get to this chain, well, this increase in the middle here, you basically do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet to the end. And then now we're going to start row 6, which is chain 2, 1, 2, which counts as 1 double crochet. And then we're going to make 2 double crochets into that first gap there, because it's meant to be 3 and that chain 1 counts as 1. Then we're going to make a double crochet into that double crochet pillar, then a double crochet into the gap, and then a double crochet to the pillar. And then I'll repeat this until we get to here. Now I'm just going to go through the gap there, catch the yarn, pull it through. And then I'm just going to cut this yarn, and I'm going to take my next color, which is like this, it's more yellow than lime, but anyway, and it's this yarn from, I don't know, it's just cotton, but here's the label, the logo. Then you're going to catch the yarn and pull it through the stitch. Well, pull through 2 and then pull through 2 again. And then, if you want to like secure it maybe a little bit more, you can just tie a knot. And then we're going to make a double crochet into that gap, well, that stitch. And then I'm just keeping the strings to the left, and I'm just going to crochet over them. And then you are at the gap, and we're going to make 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 2, 3. And then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets again. 1, 2, 3. And then go into that gap. Then we crochet, 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 base, and then repeat what you did until we get to the end there where you will increase. One, 2, and then we're going to that standing double crochet with a double crochet. That's row 6 done. For row 7, I started with a standing double crochet, and then I chained 1 and then did another double crochet into that first gap. Then I chained 1, well, I didn't chain 1 actually. I skipped a stitch and then did the same pattern, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So that's the pattern all the way up until there in the middle, where I did 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, then I skipped a stitch, and then I worked the same pattern, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that gap, skip a stitch, then repeat, skip a stitch, repeat. So that is for row 7, and then I'm gonna cut off the yarn there and then join with a slip stitch, and then I will weave away the yarn. Then I'll quickly also do the same on the other side when we started with a standing double crochet. I'm only doing this so I can crochet over the yarn so it's not so messy when we finish. I mean, like, this is messy. So what we're gonna do is I'm working through, well, from this ball of yarn, and I've got the 2 ends from the middle and then from where you see the visible literally string hanging. Then I'm going to start with the puff stitch, but I'm starting with the yarn around my needle, through the stitch, catch, pull through the 3 loops, but keep holding it so it doesn't disappear or like unravel. Yarn around, through, catch, pull through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. and then pull through. Then we can chain 1, and then you'll do the same thing, yarn around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pull through, and then chain 1. You're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and then pull through, chain 1, and then we repeat. So yarn around, through the stitch, catch. That's 3 loops. That's 1, 2. So on the second one you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you should have, that's 7 loops, and that's basically 5 times. If you don't want to count until 7, you just basically just pull it through. But I didn't pull through both loops or both strands. Then you chain 1. So you basically just make like 5 puffs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you pull through. See, it's fabulous. Then you chain 1, and then you repeat. So I'll meet you once we're in the middle there. So after this little puff stitch row, you can see we basically made puff stitch in every stitch. I ended the row and fastened off, and then I started again on this side with a standing double crochet into that very end puff, and then 3 double crochets into every gap. And then I went to the other side and then started with a single crochet, and we made a single crochet into every gap, and I'll just show you how I did that. It's basically like the same as what we did in this row. So you basically just put your yarn under the double crochet, catch, pull through, and then pull through 2. So yeah, it's pretty simple. And then I just thought I needed some color, so I basically did the same thing on this. So I just took a strand of white yarn and just single crocheted into every gap. So that's what it looks like on the back. It's pretty cool, and you can just see. For row 11 we are half double crocheting, double crocheting into the back loop of every stitch. So you can see your stitch has 2 V's. We're going into the V closest to you. And then I'm just going to repeat this until the end of the row, and obviously when you get into that stitch there, you're going to do your increase. And then also I will be changing colors to this, like I'm going to do this light purple up until like there, and then I'm going to switch to this color, or I'll probably actually go up until there and then switch to this color since I don't have so much of it left. So for this increase in that gap there, I only did 3 double crochets, as you can see, and then I'm just going to work my way down. Ooh, we're working into the back loop, remember. For row 12 I started with a standing double crochet, standing half double crochet, and then I just increased. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to crochet into the back loop of every stitch, and then you're just going to basically repeat this all the way around. And obviously when you get to the center you increase, into that middle double crochet that we did there, because remember we did 3, and then in the middle stitch you increase, so you do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, half double crochets, and then you just work your way down. Okay, so for row 13 I'm gonna start with a standing double crochet. So I've made my slip stitch, and then I'm just going to flip my work around, and then this row is just double crocheting in every single stitch, but I'm going to change up the colors in this row. Like I'm just going to start with a little bit of pink, maybe go to some green or blue, and I'll just see. And then also when you get to that middle stitch, increase. So yeah. So I'm quickly just going to show you how I change colors. So I just catch like that, and then get your yarn and catch and pull it through, and then I like to just knot it so it doesn't come undone. Keep my yarn to the side and then crochet over it. Okay, so this is row 12, pretty simple. I just showed you how to do it. It's basically 2 double crochets in every in a gap, then you skip 2, then 2 double crochets. And then for the next row I'm using this green, and we're basically just making a double crochet in every single stitch. So that's row 13. Yarn around your needle, through, catch, pull through. And don't forget to increase into that first stitch, and then we are just making for row 13 a double crochet in every single stitch. So it's pretty simple, and I'm not changing colors this row, I'm just sticking to this green. So basically for this row we slip stitched in every single gap instead of doing the single crochet. And I just want to show you how to do this corner thing. I'm not going to work, actually I'll work 1 single crochet into the gap, and then you just go straight into slip stitching all the way down, and you basically just repeat that. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start, I think this is the 14th row, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, oh. And then I'm going to start with a standing double crochet, so yarn around your needle. I'm going to flip my work around and obviously work an increase into the first gap. Okay, so here's the stitches we're working into. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to work 3, and then skip a stitch. So we chain 1, skip a stitch, and then work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then do 3 double crochets. So basically that's the stitch we're doing for the next 2 rows. And then when you get into this middle stitch, you will increase, so you'll do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. I mean in there, so you'll increase in that gap. And also I'm changing color as well, so I think I'll be changing to this green or this yellow. So that was the next 2 rows. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And then now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this cream yarn and we're going to start the next row. Wait, I just need to weave that away, well, fasten it off. I'm going to start the next row this, no, we're going to start this side. No, we're going to start, yeah, we're going to start the next row this side. And I'm going to start with a standing double crochet. And then yarn around. Don't forget to increase into that first stitch. So I'm just going to chain 1. Okay, so for this row, it's the same as what we did in this green row. So you do 2 double crochets, you skip a stitch, and then do 2 double crochets again. Well, you do 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then a double crochet. Then you skip a stitch and go into the next stitch, and you do a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet. Then you skip a stitch, so we skip that stitch and then just repeat this. So we're going to do this all the way around, and don't forget to increase when you get into that first stitch. Oh, what I wanted to show you for the previous round. So I just want to show you, for example, when you're skipping stitches, my next stitch that I need to go into is a chain 1, and I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to skip out the chain 1. But you only do this if the stitch that you meant to be skipping, and the next stitch is a chain 1, you just skip it, because I feel like it maybe increases, well, there will be too many stitches if I do that. So I'm just not going to go into the chain 1 if I need to, you know. Then here is another example. That would be the stitch I need to go into, so I'm just going to miss that. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm just going to fasten off this here. Just pull it through the slip stitch. Then we're going to take this pink yarn, and this is basically repeating what we did here, we're gonna make our little puffs. So I'm gonna do a slip stitch, and I'm gonna wrap the yarn around my needle, flip my work around, and then I'm gonna hold the string to the left so I can crochet over it, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you just pull through, and then you chain 1, and then you go into the next little V there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just chain 1. So we are gonna cut off the yarn and start the next row, and then just fasten this off and then pull it through, and then I'm gonna take this blue. Okay, we're gonna take this blue and we're gonna make a slip stitch, and then what we're gonna do is make 2 double crochets in every gap, like where the stitch is for these puff stitch. I don't know if that makes any sense. So yarn around your needle. So we're gonna start with an increase. 1, 2, skip that gap, go into the puff stitch, like the actual stitch that you make while chaining 1. That's how I think you make the stitch of the puff. Okay, and we're gonna do 2 double crochets. So basically you do this all the way around, and to increase in and then you do this all the way around, and then when you increase here you just do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and you work your way. So I'm gonna cut off this bluey green color, fasten it off, and then we're gonna start with yellow for this row. Make a slip stitch, flip my work around. I'm going to start with a double crochet, well, a standing double crochet. Then we're going to increase into that first stitch. So that means 2 double crochets. 1, 2. And then you're just going to make a double crochet in every single stitch for this row. And then you will increase as normal in this corner, so you'll do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then yeah, so I'll meet you once we've completed this row. But for this next row I'm doing half double crochets into the back loop of every stitch. I mean, depends which way you're working. If you're working this loop this way like I am, it's the front loop. But if you're working from this side, it would be the back loop of every stitch. But basically, you want your ridge facing the right way, and this is my chosen right way. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we have completed this row, doing half double crochets. Now I'm gonna take this dark purple, and I think I'm gonna mix and match these colors. I may use a roll of this. I'll just see how I feel. So I'm going to flip my work around, and now we are going to be working into the back loop of every stitch in double crochet. So I'm just going to start with an increase in that corner. 1, 2, and then we're going to go into the back loop and double crochet. And I will meet you once we have completed this row. And then also don't forget to increase when we reach the middle. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then you just continue on. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, this pattern is super simple. It's just a matter of changing how you do things. I don't know if that makes any sense.
How do you think? Just it's a matter.
So you can see here, after this white row, we did 2 rows of double crochet, all different colors. Just switched it up. And then now I'm going to end this row, and I'm going to take like a pale yellow. So what's going to happen is we're going to start with an increase, 1, 2. And then what we're going to do is skip 2 stitches and then work a double crochet into the gap. 2 double crochets into the gap, then skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, then work 2 double crochets into the gap. So that's the pattern for this row, and I'm keeping to the solid yellow. You can do whatever colors you like. So we skip 2, 1, 2, and then 2 double crochets. And then also do not forget to increase when you get to that middle corner there. So I'll make you want to complete this row. I'm gonna flip our work around, and I'm gonna start with our second to last row, well basically last row before we do the border. So you're gonna make a slip stitch, and then again we're just gonna double crochet in every single stitch. So it's pretty simple. Don't forget to increase in that corner, and then just single crochet. So I'll meet you at the end of the row, and also do not forget to increase when you get to the corner of your triangle, or yeah, the corner of your triangle. So now that we've done our row of like light purple pink, it's called the color, I'm just gonna start with a slip stitch and then place my needle into that gap there, and then chain 1, and then now we are just gonna prep this row so we can do the border on the next row. So we're just gonna single crochet in every gap, just like so. So I'll meet you once we've completed that. Basically just gonna do it to the other side here. So I've single crochet across the top of the top. Well, basically you improvise single crochets because there is no stitch there. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to flip the work around, and we're going to start from this side, which is my correct side. Yours may be different, I don't know, depending like if you like this side more or that side, but whichever side is your correct side, flip it around to start the border, because you want the like frills of the top to be the right way around. But anyway, to start, we're gonna do a single crochet into the gap there, into that gap. So we're gonna do a single crochet and then 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that fourth gap you make a single crochet, and then you do 5 double crochets again. And you skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do a single crochet and then 5 double crochets. So you basically repeat that until you get to the other side. But when you do this part here, you'll just do a single crochet and then do your 5 double crochets again. So you're going to want to do it twice in that gap. and you basically do that all the way around like this, and then you repeat, you do the same in those corners here, and you repeat that, and then when you get to the white top, like the border, that's why we did the stitches, so you can actually see what you're doing. You just repeat what we did on the other corners. So you do your 5 double crochet or single crochet, 5 double crochet, skip 4 stitches, and then go into that gap and then do single crochet and then 5. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple, and I'll meet you once I've completed this. So we're just gonna go into that last gap with a single crochet and then do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 4, 5, and then I'm just gonna single crochet to lock it down, and then I'm gonna slip stitch into that next gap, and then basically we're done. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slip stitch to that end like gap there, because we're gonna start with this with the straps. So to get started with the strap, I'm gonna chain 2, flip my work around, and then I'm just gonna decrease in the first 2 stitches, so through the stitch and then through the stitch, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, then we'll make a double crochet, 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, no, let's decrease here. So 1, 2. Then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to start with a decrease. So into the first stitch, second stitch, and then once double crochet, and then decrease 1, 2. And then the last row, chain 2, we're going to decrease 1, 2, double crochet, and then decrease again in the next 2 stitches. So basically that's that for the straps. And then you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do a treble crochet in every stitch. So that chain 4 counts as 1. This is 2. This is 3. And then that's 4. Then we're going to chain 4 again, 2, 3, 4, flip around, and then you're basically just going to repeat the same thing. Treble crochet, and also you can tie different ways. Like you can make the strap long enough to crisscross down your back, and then you can like tie under your tummy. So fabulous. So yeah, so if you want this exact one made by me, you can shop it on my website.